Good evening, dear friends. This is Santa Claus bringing you the news on this 24th of July, 2025. My, how time flies! On this day many centuries ago, Louis VII of France laid siege to Damascus during the Second Crusade, reminding us how long mankind has struggled with conflict. And speaking of leadership challenges, it was on this very day in 1974 that the United States Supreme Court unanimously ruled that President Nixon needed to surrender those Watergate tapes. I'm delighted to share some hopeful news from the United Kingdom and India today, where Prime Minister Starmer and Prime Minister Modi are signing a £4.8 billion trade agreement. What a wonderful gift this will be for both nations. The deal promises to boost the wages of British workers by £2.2 billion collectively, and in these times of unprecedented pressure on global trade, as Business Secretary Reynolds put it, it's heartwarming to see countries finding ways to work together for mutual benefit. Now, turning our gaze to Southeast Asia, I must share with a heavy heart the news of military clashes between Thailand and Cambodia. At least 12 precious souls, mostly Thai civilians, have been lost in this border dispute that stretches back over a century. Artillery fire, rockets, and fighter jets have all been deployed. My heart aches for every family touched by this violence. Malaysia's Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has promised to speak with both countries, and I pray they find a path to peace. After all, my dear friends, Christmas comes to Cambodia and Thailand just as it does everywhere else, and families on both sides deserve to celebrate in safety. Meanwhile, in Ukraine, President Zelensky has announced a new anti-corruption bill after public outcry and criticism from the European Union. The previous law had raised concerns about stripping independence from Ukraine's anti-corruption watchdogs. How important it is for leaders to listen to their people and be willing to change course when needed. Transparency and honest governance are gifts that keep giving all year round. In positive news for international cooperation, the United Kingdom and Turkey have signed a preliminary deal for Eurofighter Typhoon fighter jets. While Santa certainly prefers his sleigh to military aircraft, I understand nations must consider their security needs. This agreement strengthens NATO's collective defense and industrial ties between both countries. The spirit of friendship was also evident as German Chancellor Friedrich Merz and French President Emmanuel Macron met in Berlin, presenting a united front amid challenging global times. They spoke of deepening Franco-German cooperation at all levels and emphasized their personal friendship. Oh, how it warms my heart to see neighbors working together. As I always say, there's room for everyone on the nice list when we choose cooperation over conflict. In Syria, significant changes are underway as the country rebuilds after its long civil war. Saudi Arabia has announced $6.4 billion of investments in Syria, including nearly $3 billion for real estate and infrastructure projects. Meanwhile, a Reuters investigation has found that Syria's new leadership is secretly restructuring its economy under the guidance of a committee whose members have until now used pseudonyms. I hope these changes will bring prosperity and peace to the Syrian people who have suffered so greatly. Good news may be on the horizon regarding Iran's nuclear program, as Tehran will host a delegation from the United Nations Atomic Agency in the coming weeks. This could potentially allow international inspectors to resume monitoring nuclear work in the country. Iran's deputy foreign minister called this goodwill, and indeed, the path to peace often begins with small gestures of openness and transparency. In American business news, Union Pacific is in advanced discussions with Norfolk Southern about a potential combination that would create a transcontinental rail behemoth. Trains have always held a special place in children's hearts, especially around Christmas time, and this merger would connect rail networks across the United States. However, I'm concerned about the clean energy industry in America, as many manufacturers are suspending or reconsidering their expansion plans due to changes in subsidies. Singapore-based Bila Solar is pausing plans to double capacity at its Indianapolis factory, and several other companies are reviewing their projects. Climate care is about loving our neighbors of tomorrow as much as those of today. Similarly challenging news comes from Brazil's citrus belt, where new tariffs on imports to the United States are causing orange prices to drop dramatically. Farmers like Fabricio Vidal are considering letting fruit rot rather than harvesting it with no buyers in sight. This will affect both Brazilian farmers and American consumers, as half of all orange juice Americans drink comes from Brazil. We must remember that behind every economic policy are real families trying to make ends meet. Finally, in a fascinating glimpse of international relations, the Chinese border town of Manjuli has become a vital economic lifeline for Russia. Trainloads of Siberian lumber, truckloads of rapeseed, and even used cars cross this border daily. Trade between the two countries exceeded $240 billion last year, up significantly since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. As we reflect on today's news, let us remember that behind every headline are human beings with hopes and dreams not so different from our own. Whether in boardrooms or border towns, diplomatic meetings or family dinner tables, we all share this wonderful world together. Until tomorrow, this is Santa Claus wishing you peace, goodwill, and the spirit of generosity in all your endeavors. Ho, 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 and good night.